Chapter 72, August's House. It was already the middle of January, and we still hadn't even chosen what science fair project we were going to work on. I guess I kept putting it off because I just didn't want to do it. Finally, August was like, "Dude, we have to do this." So we went to his house after school. I was really nervous because I didn't know if August had ever told his parents about what he had now called the Halloween incident. Turns out, the dad wasn't even home, and the mom was out running errands. I'm pretty sure from the 2 seconds I had spent talking to her that Augie had never mentioned a thing about it. She was super cool and friendly towards me. When I first walked into Augie's room, I was like, "Whoa, Augie, you have got a serious Star Wars addiction." He had ledges full of Star Wars miniatures and a huge Empire Strikes Back poster on his wall. "I know, right?" he laughed. He sat down on a rolling chair next to his desk, and I plopped down on a beanbag chair in the corner. That's when his dog waddled into the room, right up to me. "He was on your holiday card," I said, letting the dog sniff my hand. "She," he corrected. "Daisy. You can pet her. She doesn't bite." When I started petting her, she basically just rolled over onto her back. "She wants you to rub her tummy," said August. "Okay, this is the cutest dog I've ever seen," I said, rubbing her stomach. "I know, right? She's the best dog in the world. Aren't you, girly?" As soon as she heard August's voice say that, the dog started waggling her tail and went over to him. "Who's my little girly? Who's my little girly?" August was saying as she licked him all over the face. "I wish I had a dog," I said. "My parents think our apartment's too small." I started looking around at the stuff in his room while he turned on the computer. "Hey, you've got an Xbox 360. Can we play?" "Dude, we're here to work on this science fair project." "Do you have Halo?" "Of course I have Halo." "Please, can we play?" He had logged onto the Beecher website and was now scrolling through Mrs. Rubin's teacher page through the list of science fair projects. "Can you see them from there?" he said. I sighed and went to sit on a little stool that was right next to him. "Cool iMac," I said. "What kind of computer do you have?" "Dude, I don't even have my own room, much less my own computer. My parents have this ancient Dell that's practically dead." "Okay, how about this one?" he said, turning the screen in my direction so I would look. I made a quick scan of the screen, and my eyes literally started blurring. "Making a sun clock?" he said. "That sounds kind of cool." I leaned back. "Can't we just make a volcano?" "Everyone makes volcanoes." "Duh, because it's easy," I said, petting Daisy again. "What about how to make crystal spikes out of Epsom salt?" "Sounds boring," I answered. "So why do you call her Daisy?" He didn't look up from the screen. "My sister named her. I wanted to call her Darth. Actually, technically speaking, her full name is Darth Daisy, but we never really called her that." "Darth Daisy? That's funny. Hi, Darth Daisy," I said to the dog, who rolled over on her back again for me to rub her tummy. "Okay, this one is the one," said August, pointing to a picture on the screen of a bunch of potatoes with wires poking out of them. "How to build an organic battery made of potatoes. Now that's cool. It says here you could power a lamp with it. We could call it the Spud lamp or something. What do you think?" "Dude, that sounds way too hard. You know how I suck at science." "Shut up, you do not." "Yeah, I do. I got a 54 on the last test. I suck at science." "No, you don't. And that was only because we were still fighting, and I wasn't helping you. I can help you now. This is a good project, Jack. We've got to do it." "Fine, whatever," I shrugged. Just then there was a knock on the door, and a teenage girl with long, dark, wavy hair poked her head inside the door. She wasn't expecting to see me. "Oh, hey," she said to both of us. "Hey, Via," said August, looking back at the computer screen. "Via, this is Jack. Jack, this is Via." "Hey," I said, nodding hello. "Hey," she said, looking at me carefully. I knew the second Augie said my name that he had told her about the stuff I had said about him. I could tell from the way she looked at me. In fact, the way she looked at me made me think that she remembered me from that day at Carvel on Amesfort Avenue all those years ago. "Augie, I have a friend I want you to meet, okay?" she said. "He's coming over in a few minutes." "Is he your new boyfriend?" August teased. Via kicked the bottom of his chair. "Just be nice," she said, and she left the room. "Dude, your sister's hot," I said. "I know." "She hates me, right? You told her about the Halloween incident?" "Yep." "Yeah, she hates me," or "yeah, you told her about the Halloween?" "Both." Chapter 73, The Boyfriend. 2 minutes later, the sister came back with this guy named Justin. Seemed like a cool enough dude. Longish hair, little round glasses. He was carrying a big, long, shiny silver case that ended up in a sharp point on one end. "Justin, this is my little brother August," said Via. "And that's Jack." "Hey, guys," said Justin, shaking our hands. He seemed a little nervous. I guess maybe it was because he was meeting August for the first time. Sometimes I forget what a shock it is the first time you meet him. "Cool room." Are you Via's boyfriend? Augie asked mischievously, and his sister pulled his cap down over his face. What's in your case? I said. A machine gun? Answered the boyfriend. That's funny. No, it's a fiddle. Justin's a fiddler, said Via. He's in a Zydeco band. What the heck is a Zydeco band? Said Augie, looking at me. It's a type of music, said Justin, like Creole music. What's Creole? I said. You should tell people that's a machine gun, said Augie. Nobody would ever mess with you. I guess you're right, Justin said, nodding and tucking his hair behind his ears. Creole's the kind of music that they play in Louisiana, he said to me. Are you from Louisiana? I asked. No, he answered, pushing his glasses. I'm from Brooklyn. I don't know why this made me want to laugh. Come on up, Justin, said Via, pulling me by the hand. Let's go hang out in my room. Okay, see you guys later. Bye, he said. Bye. As soon as they left the room, Augie looked at me smiling. I'm from Brooklyn, I said, and we both started laughing hysterically. Wonder Part 5, Justin. Sometimes I think my head is so big because it is full of dreams, by John Merrick in Bernard Pomerantz's The Elephant Man. Chapter 74, Olivia's Brother. The first time I met Olivia's little brother, I have to admit, I'm totally taken by surprise. I shouldn't be, of course. Olivia's told me about his syndrome, has even described what he looks like, but she also talked about all of his surgeries over the years, so I guess I assumed that he'd be more normal looking by now. Like when a kid is born with a cleft lip and has plastic surgery to fix it, sometimes you can't even hardly tell, except for the little scar above the lip. I guess I thought her brother would have some little scars here and there, but not this. I definitely wasn't expecting to see this little kid in a baseball cap who's sitting in front of me right now. Actually, there are two kids sitting in front of me. One is a totally normal-looking kid with curly blonde hair named Jack. The other is Augie. I like to think I'm able to hide my surprise. I hope I do. Surprise is one of those emotions that can be hard to fake, though whether you're trying to look surprised or whether you're not trying to look surprised when you are. I shake his hand. I shake the other kid's hand. Don't want to focus on his face. Cool room, I say. Are you Via's boyfriend? He says, and I think he's smiling. Olivia pushes down his baseball cap. Is that a machine gun? The blonde kid asks. Like I haven't heard that one before. And we talk about Zydeco for a bit. And then Via's taking my left hand and leading me out of the room. As soon as we close the door behind us, we hear them laughing. I'm from Brooklyn, one of them sings. Olivia rolls her eyes as she smiles. Let's go hang out in my room, she says. We've been dating for 2 months now. I knew from the moment I saw her, the minute she sat down at our table in the cafeteria, that I liked her. I couldn't keep my eyes off of her. Really beautiful. The olive skin and the bluest eyes I've ever seen in my life. At first, she acted like she only wanted to be friends. I think she kind of gives off that vibe without even meaning to. Stay back, don't even bother. She doesn't flirt like some other girls do. She looks you right in the eye when she talks to you, like she's daring you. So I just kept on looking her right in the eye too, like I was daring her right back. And then I asked her out and she said yes, which rocked. She's an awesome girl, and I love hanging out with her. She didn't tell me about August until our third date. I think she used the phrase a craniofacial abnormality to describe his face, or maybe it was craniofacial anomaly. I know the word that she didn't use was deformed, though, because that word would have registered with me. So, what do you think? She asked me nervously the second we were inside her room. Are you shocked? No, I lie. She smiles and looks away. You're shocked. I am not, I assure her. He's just like what you said he would be. She nods and plops down on her bed. Kind of cute how she still had a lot of stuffed animals on her bed. She takes one of them, a polar bear, without thinking, and puts it in her lap. I sit down in the rolling chair beside her. Her room is immaculate. When I was little, she says, there were lots of kids who never came back for a second play date. I mean, lots of kids. I even had friends who wouldn't come to my birthdays because he would be there. They never actually told me this, but it would get back to me. Some people just don't know how to deal with Augie, you know? I nod. It's not even like they were being mean, she adds. They were just scared. I mean, let's face it. His face is a little scary, right? I guess, I answer. But you're okay with it? She asks me sweetly. You're not too freaked out or scared? I'm not freaked out or scared, I smile. She nods and looks down at the polar bear on her lap. I can't tell whether she believes me or not. But then she gives the polar bear a kiss on the nose and tosses it to me with a little smile. I think that means she believes me, or at least that she wants to. Chapter 75, Valentine's Day. I give Olivia a heart necklace for Valentine's Day, and she gives me a messenger bag that she made me out of old floppy disks. Very cool how she makes things like that. Earrings out of pieces of cricket circuit boards, dresses out of t-shirts, bags out of old jeans. She's so creative. I tell her she should be an artist someday, but she wants to be a scientist, a geneticist of all things. She wants to find cures for people like her brother, I guess. We make plans for me to finally meet her parents at a Mexican restaurant on Amesfort Avenue near her house on Saturday night. All day long I'm nervous about it, and when I get nervous, my tics come out. I mean, my tics are always there, but they're not like they used to be when I was little. Nothing but a few hard blinks now. The occasional head pull, but when I'm stressed, they get worse, and I'm definitely stressing about meeting her folks. They're waiting inside when I get to the restaurant. The dad gets up and shakes my hand. The mom gives me a hug. I give Augie a hello fist punch and kiss Olivia on the cheek before I sit down. It's nice to meet you, Justin. We've heard so much about you. Her parents couldn't be nicer. They put me at ease right away, and the waiter brings over the menus, and I notice his expression the moment he lays eyes on August, but I pretend I don't notice. I guess we're all pretending not to notice things tonight. The waiter, my tics, the way August crushes the tortilla chips on the table and spoons the crumbs into his mouth. I look at Olivia and she smiles at me. She knows. She sees the waiter's face. She sees my tics. Olivia's a girl who sees everything. We spend the entire dinner talking and laughing. Olivia's parents ask me about my music, how I got into the fiddle and stuff like that. And I tell them about how I used to play classical violin, but I got into Appalachian folk music and then Zydeco. And they're listening to every word, like they're really interested. They tell me to let them know the next time my band's playing, a gig, so they can come listen. I'm not used to all that attention. To be truthful, my parents don't have a clue what I want to do with my life. They've never asked. We never talk like this. I don't think they even know I traded in my Baroque violin for an 8-string Hardanger fiddle 2 years ago. After dinner, we go back to Olivia's for some ice cream. Their dog greets us at the door. An old dog, super sweet. She'd thrown up all over the hallway, though. Olivia's mom rushes to get paper towels while her dad picks the dog up like she's a baby. "What's up, old girlie?" he says, and the dog's in heaven, tongue hanging out, tail wagging, legs in the air at awkward angles. "Dad, tell Justin how we got Daisy," says Olivia. "Yeah," says Augie. The dad smiles and sits down in a chair with the dog still cradled in his arms. It's obvious he's told this story lots of times, and they all love to hear it. "So I'm coming home from the subway one day," he says, "and a homeless guy that I've never seen in the neighborhood before is pushing this floppy mutt in a stroller, and he comes up to me and says, 'Hey, mister, want to buy my dog?' And without even thinking about it, I say, 'Sure, how much do you want?' And he says, $10, so I give him $20 that I have in my wallet, and he hands me the dog. Justin, I'm telling you, you have never smelled anything so bad in your entire life. She stank so much, I can't even tell you. So I took her right from there to the vet down the street, and then I brought her home. Didn't even call me first, by the way," the mom interjects as she cleans the floor to see if I'm okay with his bringing home some homeless guy's dog. The dog actually looks over at the mom when she says this, like she understands everything that everyone is saying about her. She's a happy dog. Like she knows she's lucked out the day that she found this family. I kind of think that's how she feels. I like Olivia's family. They laugh a lot. My family's not like this at all. My mom and dad got divorced when I was 4, and they pretty much hate each other. I grew up spending half of every week in my dad's apartment on Chelsea, and the other half in my mom's place in Brooklyn Heights. I have a half-brother who's 5 years older than me and barely even knows I exist. For as long as I can remember, I felt like my parents could hardly wait for me to be old enough to take care of myself. You can go to the store by yourself. Here's the key to the apartment. It's funny how there's a word like overprotective to describe some parents, but no word that means the opposite. What word would you use to describe parents who don't protect enough? Underprotective? Neglectful? Self-involved? Lame? All of the above. Olivia's family tell each other I love you all the time. I can't remember the last time anyone in my family said that to me. By the time I go home, my tics have all stopped. Chapter 76, Our Town. We're doing the play Our Town for the spring show this year. Olivia dares me to try out for the lead role, the stage manager, and somehow I get it. Total fluke. Never got any lead roles in anything before. I tell Olivia she brings me good luck. Unfortunately, she doesn't get the female lead. Emily Gibbs, the pink-haired girl named Miranda, gets it. Olivia gets a bit part and is also the Emily understudy. I'm actually more disappointed than Olivia is. She almost seems relieved. "I don't love people staring at me," she says, which is sort of strange coming from such a pretty girl. A part of me thinks maybe she blew her audition on purpose. The spring show is at the end of April. It's mid-March now, so that's less than 6 weeks to memorize my part, plus rehearsal time, plus practicing with my band, plus finals, plus spending time with Olivia. It's going to be a rough 6 weeks. That's for sure. Mr. Davenport, the drama teacher, is already manic about the whole thing. Will drive us crazy by the time it's over, no doubt. I heard through the grapevine that he'd been planning on doing The Elephant Man, but changed it to our town at the last minute, and that change took a week off our rehearsal schedule. Not looking forward to the craziness of the next month and a half. Chapter 77, Ladybug. Olivia and I are sitting on her front stoop. She's helping me with my lines. It's a warm March evening, almost like summer. The sky is brilliant bright cayenne, but the sun is low and the sidewalks are streaked with long shadows. I'm reciting. Yes, the sun's come up over 1,000 times. Summers and winters have cracked the mountains a little bit more, and the rains have brought down some of the dirt. Some babies that weren't even born before have begun talking regular sentences already, and a number of people who thought they were right young and spry have noticed that they can't bound up a flight of stairs like they used to, without their fluttering a little. I shake my head. Can't remember the rest. All that can happen is 1,000 days, Olivia prompts me, reading from the script. Oh, right, I say, shaking my head. I sigh. I'm wiped, Olivia. How the heck am I going to remember all these lines? You will, she answers confidently. She reaches out and cups her hands over a ladybug that appears out of nowhere. See? A good luck sign, she says, slowly lifting her top hand off to reveal the ladybug walking on the palm of her other hand. Good luck or just the hot weather, I joke. Of course good luck, she answers, watching the ladybug crawl up her wrist. There should be a thing about making a wish on a ladybug. Augie and I used to do that with fireflies when we were little. She cups her hand over the ladybug again. Come on, make a wish. Close your eyes. I dutifully close my eyes. A long second passes, then I open them. Did you make a wish? She asks. Yep. She smiles, uncups her hands, and the ladybug, as if on cue, spreads its wings and flits away. Don't you want to know what I wished for? I ask, kissing her. No, she answers shyly, looking up at the sky, which at that very moment is the exact color of her eyes. I made a wish too, she says mysteriously, but she has so many things that she could wish for. I have no idea what she was thinking. Chapter 78, The Bus Stop. Olivia's mom, Augie, Jack, and Daisy come down the stoop just as I'm saying goodbye to Olivia, slightly awkward since we are in the middle of a nice long kiss. Hey guys, says Mom, pretending not to see anything, but the two boys are giggling. Hi, Mrs. Pullman. Please call me Isabel, Justin, she says again. It's like the third time she's told me this, so I really need to start calling her that. I'm heading home, I say as if to explain. Oh, are you heading to the subway? She says, following the dog with a newspaper. Can you walk Jack to the bus stop? No problem. That okay with you, Jack? The mom asks him, and he shrugs. Justin, can you stay with him until the bus comes? Of course. We all say our goodbyes. Olivia winks at me. You don't have to stay with me, says Jack as we're walking up the block. I take the bus by myself all the time. Augie's mom is way too overprotective. He's got a low, gravelly voice, like a little tough guy. He kind of looks like one of those little rascal kids in the old black and white movies, like he should be wearing a newsboy cap and some knickers. We get to the bus stop, and the schedule says that the bus will be there in 8 minutes. I'll wait with you, I tell him. Up to you, he shrugs. Can I borrow $1? I want some gum. I fish $1 out of my pocket and watch him cross the street to the grocery store on the corner. He seems too small to be walking around by himself somehow. Then I think how I was when I was that young, when I was taking the subway by myself, way too young. I'm going to be an overprotective dad someday. I know it. My kids are going to know that I care. I'm waiting there a minute or two when I notice 3 kids walking up the block from the other direction. They walk right past the grocery store, but one of them looks inside and nudges the other 2, and they all back up and look inside. I can tell they're up to no good, all elbowing each other and laughing. One of them is about Jack's height, but the other 2 look much bigger, more like teens. They hide behind the fruit stand in front of the store, and when Jack walks out, they trail behind him, making loud throw-up noises. Jack casually turns around at the corner to see who they are, and they run away, high-fiving each other and laughing, the little jerks. Jack crosses the street like nothing happened and stands next to me at the bus stop blowing a bubble. Friends of yours? I finally say. He says. He's trying to smile, but I can see he's upset. Just some jerks from my school, he says. A kid named Julian and his 2 gorillas, Henry and Miles. Do they bother you like that a lot? No, they've never done that before. They'd never do that at school, or they'd get kicked out. Julian doesn't even live around here, so I guess it was just bad luck running into him. Oh, okay, I nod. It's not a big deal, he assures me. We both automatically look down Amesfort Avenue to see if the bus is coming. We're sort of in a war, he says after a minute, as if that explains everything. Then he pulls out this crumpled piece of paper from his jean pocket and gives it to me. I unfold it, and it's a list of names in 3 columns. He's turned the whole grade against me, says Jack. Not the whole grade, I point out. Look down at that list. He leaves me notes in my locker that say stuff like, everybody hates you. You should tell your teacher about that. Jack looks at me like I'm an idiot and shakes his head. Anyway, you have all these neutrals, I say, pointing to the list. If you get them on your side, things will even up a bit. Yeah, well, that's really not going to happen, he says sarcastically. Why not? He shoots me another look like I'm absolutely the stupidest guy that he's ever talked to in the world. What? I say. He shakes his head like I'm hopeless. Let's just say he says, I'm friends with someone who isn't exactly the most popular kid in the school. Then it hits me. When he's not coming out and saying, August, this is all about his being friends with August, and he doesn't want to tell me because I'm his sister's boyfriend. Yeah, of course, that makes sense. We see the bus coming down Amesfort Avenue. Well, just hang in there, I tell him, handing back the paper. Middle school is about as bad as it gets, and then it gets better. Everything will work out. He shrugs and shoves the list back into his pocket. We wave by when he gets on the bus, and I watch it pull away. When I get to the subway station 2 blocks away, I see those same 3 kids hanging out in front of the bagel place next to the door. They're still laughing and yuck-yucking each other like they're some kind of gangsters, little rich boys in inexpensive skinny jeans acting tough. Don't know what possesses me, but I take my glasses off, put them in my pocket, and tuck my fiddle case under my arm so the pointing side is facing up. I walk over to them, my face scrunched up and mean-looking. They look at me, laughs dying on their lips when they see me, ice cream cones at odd angles. Yo, listen up. Don't mess with Jack, I say really slowly, gritting my teeth, my voice all Clint Eastwood tough guy. Mess with him again, and you'll be very, very sorry. And then I tap my fiddle case for effect. Got it? They nod in unison, ice cream dripping onto their hands. Good, I nod mysteriously. Then I sprint down the subway 2 steps at a time.